Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach, and today we have with us Wayne Titus, who's the author of The Entrepreneur's Guide to Financial Well-Being. Wayne, welcome to the program.
Well, thanks, Mike. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to learning from you. I know that you are the author. I want to talk about your book, and also I know that you are a advisor, wealth advisor, talk about tax and wealth. So I want to talk to you also about some timely issues that we all are dealing with today in the midst of this COVID crisis. So get us started with a little bit of your background and then what led you to this field.
Yeah, sure. I'm a CPA. And I started my firm in 2002 to integrate tax, financial, and investment strategy for entrepreneurs and families. I was with large accounting firms for a number of years after I graduated with an accounting degree. I had a business degree before that. But the long and the short of it was I started my businesses to serve entrepreneurs and families because I felt like I wanted to make a big impact in people's lives. And this was an area where I felt was primarily neglected. It's not how much you earn in the market, it's how much you keep after taxes that's most important. And most entrepreneurs have needs that are unique to entrepreneurs when it comes to tax and understanding tax and how business works and employee benefits and all of that. So my firm really was designed to help them with bookkeeping, payroll, but also retirement planning, benefits planning, and then wealth management, investment strategy, and financial planning.
And it really, those things tie so well together because it has so many kind of tentacles impacting your entire life personally and professionally. Over the years, I've worked with financial advisors and mortgage and all the different realms of how money impacts our life. And I think we could probably talk for about 4.5 hours on how it's not just the money. Money, when you're doing well or doing not so well, money-wise, tax-wise, it has implications on your personal life, on your, attitude, all of these things. So I just love when you can kind of make some really clear, I love your title of the book, Entrepreneur's Guide to Financial Well-Being. That just sounds like a nice, solid title.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we put together a number of stories in there. It can be a pretty dry subject, but we tried to add a lot of kind of stories and just examples of what we mean.
Yeah, exactly. And just kind of bringing it to life. So let's jump right into right now at the time of this recording, we are going through the COVID-19 coronavirus time period and whatever we want to call it. And, how soon can we get back to normal and what will normal look like and all of these things. But right now there are financial moves that could be made or could be considered. So I know you've done some research on the CARES Act, and I think it'd be wonderful at this point just to get a high level, some good tips and ideas on what some entrepreneurs can consider today.
Yeah, sure. As entrepreneurs, we went from business as usual to wondering how we're going to stay in business overnight. And None of us, I don't think, were prepared for how abrupt that change was. And so there's a couple of important things to understand about the CARES Act legislation. There is a section for, protecting businesses and helping businesses as well as individuals and other institutions. We focused on a couple of different areas in some live webcasts. But I think what we should talk about today is a couple of programs. They've just refunded or funded more to the Paycheck Protection Program. There's the emergency disaster loans. And then there's also there's an unemployment benefit for self-employed 1099 and contract and gig workers. Normally, self-employed individuals wouldn't necessarily be eligible for unemployment, the same with 1099 contractors, because typically they don't pay into the unemployment system. But under the CARES Act, they are actually afforded some benefits, and so they can apply for unemployment if they have reduced hours or reduced compensation. And that also provides an additional $600 a week, potentially, on top of a normal unemployment benefit. So, for example, here in Michigan, I think the maximum unemployment benefit you might receive is $362 a week. If you're eligible for that, the additional $600 would bring it to almost $1,000 a week.
Wow.
It's not everything, but it's certainly really helpful, especially for small business owners that may not have, been able to generate that kind of income in their own businesses to start with.
Well, I think that's a really big aha, because people hear those kinds of benefits, and if you're a self-employed entrepreneur, you think, not for me. But yet this now, it has that, far-reaching aspect to where it's going to benefit self-employed. Now, as always, there's some cutoffs. So what are some of the common cutoffs? Like, well, it's self-employed, but if you this or that, what are some of the things to keep in mind?
Yeah, so you're not eligible if you can basically work from home and you're continuing to work from home. So there are some restrictions. If you started a job or were trying to start a job, maybe between jobs or between contracts, and you couldn't start because of the coronavirus, then you're eligible. I had just a quick story. I had a woman that had to quit her job. She was working part-time at the hospital. She had to quit her job to take care of her mother, who was in a nursing facility. She brought her mother home out of the nursing facility because the nursing facility started having some coronavirus outbreaks. And so consequently, she had to quit her job and take care of her mother. Well, she's eligible for unemployment under this program. So there's a lot of things that entrepreneurs may know of people, and it's important to get the word out because that benefit is there to help people.
Yeah, that really is good. And here's the thing: I think that you could send someone the state link to everything you just said, and people would go, "Oh, good," and then their eyes would glaze over. So I think the thing that I am wondering if you would concur is sometimes people, I get it, but I just need to talk through it with someone. I just need someone with that extra set of eyes that knows my situation or whatever. So, that's kind of the benefit you bring as in your profession is there's a lot of people, you to go and do whatever online tax, but you always wonder if you're doing it right. Or you can make your own financial decisions, but you'd always wonder if you're doing it the most optimal way. So is this something that with some of your clients, you're working with them to make sure that they're understanding and getting the most from these opportunities?
We are absolutely doing that with our clients. In fact, we did a live webcast, which it's recorded on our website, on our blog. Because, we did this webcast, and there were so many questions that came in, exactly what you're talking about. I've tried to file, I've been denied, am I still eligible? People will be denied on their state websites, but there's a process that they need to then continue through because they have to upload documentation to show the income that they had. So they have to potentially upload their 1099, their tax return. There's an additional step that self-employed people have to take. And that's why it's taken a little while for this program to come up on many state websites. They had an existing unemployment process for people that work for corporations. They didn't have one for self-employed and contract workers. So they had to create it. And they also then had to create a process for somebody to be able to upload documents, which they didn't necessarily have before. So, Michigan just went live the week before last, and so many states haven't gone live with this portion of their website yet. So, I'd say watch your state website and continue to pursue that. And if you have to, just get on the phone and call somebody, call your advisor. And if your advisor's not reaching out to you and helping you with this kind of stuff, I think, there's things that you need to be thinking about. Like, are you getting what you need from your advisor? But definitely your advisor should be able to help you through this process.
So, how people that are not in the business like you are, like myself, I'm going to ask this question as myself. It's saying, I hear all these things, but I don't understand it all. And I heard that one of these programs, CARES or PPP, Payment Protect, or whatever it was, all of a sudden, bam, ran out of money. So is it exercise of futility for an entrepreneur to go, hey, maybe I should apply for this because there's no money to be had?
Yeah, your advisor should be helping you through that process too. When we first heard about the Paycheck Protection Program, one of the things we did was start to reach out to our clients and talk with them about the opportunity that's there for them. And people that delayed got shut out on the first phase of this, and now the second phase is coming into place. It was just passed into law. I think it was yesterday or the day before, and there's many applications that are still pending from the prior application. So whether or not additional applications are going to be taken, I've heard some banks have stopped taking applications. Some banks are being preferential about which applications they're reviewing. That there's some scuttlebutt about that. So it's kind of all across the board, but really your advisor should be helping you through that process. It's not difficult. The PPP application is very easy. The information that you have to provide is relatively simple. So it shouldn't take very long to gather that information, but you may need the help of your advisor to do that.
Yeah. Well, good. Thank you for those timely updates. Let's move over to now talking about your book, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Financial Well-Being. What was the genesis for you having the idea to put the book together? And then what are some of the main points you cover?
Well, sure. Entrepreneurs have a far different financial situation from those kind of with regular salary jobs. And most advisors that they deal with, they only address investment consulting. Entrepreneurs need more than that. They need an advisor that goes beyond investment consulting and has a different mindset than the average advisor. They have to be focused on integrating tax, financial, and investment strategy, being kind of a holistic planner. There's three kinds of advisors. There's the paternalistic advisor that basically says this is what you should do, but they don't help you understand why. There's the informative advisor that says, you ask me a question, here's all the information, you review it, and you decide what you want to do. They don't really give you a lot of guidance. And then the third advisor, which is the kind of advisor that I think everyone should really look for, and that's the interpretive advisor. They're the ones that understand deeply what your situation is. They're walking in solidarity with you through this journey of your entrepreneurship, and they're providing you guidance and helping you kind of sift through the noise that's out there in the marketplace. And so that kind of interpretive advisor is going to make recommendations based on their understanding. They're going to be well educated. They're going to know what the ins and outs of different things are. And if they don't know, they'll figure it out. And then they'll say, this is what I found out. And they'll help you come to that conclusion that's right for you and your family. So the idea behind writing this book is to help entrepreneurs find that trustworthy advisor. And I think when I say trustworthy, it goes beyond that. It's finding that right fit.
Right fit is huge, and it's going to be different for everyone. But when you're explaining that, it made me wonder if this is a correct kind of a summary. You can have someone that knows numbers and can put numbers in a spreadsheet and put them in and hand it to you, and yay, you did that. But then knowing what those numbers actually mean and knowing what to sift through and apply it to a specific business and creatively come up with ways to maximize or how it applies to business, that's a whole different realm. Am I thinking correctly that way?
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing is entrepreneurs themselves, they have their passion. Their business is their passion, right? Your business is your baby. It didn't come with an instruction manual. Just like your kids, right? You're trying to figure them out as they grow up. It's the same thing with your business. And so many times you engage what you think is a trustworthy advisor, a trusted advisor, and they're giving you the best information that's possible, but they're giving it to you from their silo. And it's not that it's wrong information. It's that there's so many complexities in our tax law and in our business situations that the complexities cross tax, financial, investment strategy. And so finding that advisor that can cross all of those areas of expertise is really important. It's not that the person that you're getting the detail from, I'm a CPA and sometimes I'm critical of the CPA profession, but if your tax advisor is just focused on preparing a tax return and they're not giving you advice on running your business, then you might want to look for a business advisor. But then now you have a tax advisor, and now you have a business advisor. Then what about the investment advisor or your financial advisor?
Yeah.
Now you've got 4 advisors. They're giving you their best guess or their best thoughts on each of the individual areas. But these areas don't all work together. They work sometimes in contrast to each other. You want to generate more profits in your business, but you don't want to pay as much tax. So, how can you minimize the impact of a good business profit and minimize the impact of taxes? Well, maybe it's to implement the appropriate kind of retirement plan. So these things are important to integrate. And many times with entrepreneurs, you just don't know what you don't know. And your advisor, unless you're pushing them or unless they're tooled in this area, they're not going to be able to help you.
Your explanation there made me think of an old fable. I'm sure you're familiar with this, but the old blind men from India who were touching an elephant. And the one guy's like, this is a wall. And they're like, no, this is a, and they were all correct because the area they were touching felt like a wall or felt like a tree or but in reality, if you could see and step back and go, no, it's an elephant. So all the pieces work together, and if all you know is one piece, then that's only part of the story. But when it all comes together and you know how it comes together, that's a whole different realm than having just the tax advisor, just the financial advisor.
Yeah, absolutely. When you take the example of like the pyramids in Egypt or these beautiful cathedrals throughout Europe, right? They were built a super long time ago, and they're just an engineering marvel, and you wonder, how did that happen? Well, you had a master builder there, right? There was one person generally that knew how all that stuff worked, and they directed a crew to have that beautiful thing be built. The issue is today is more complex. If you're going to build a skyscraper, you can't have the knowledge in one person's head. There's too much to know. You have to know about wind dynamics. You have to know about soil dynamics. You have to know how to run piping in buildings that are going to flex with the wind and all of that kind of stuff. And so you have to have not a master builder, you have to have a team of master builders working on building that skyscraper. It's just as beautiful as those pyramids and those cathedrals because it's such a complex thing. And this is our system today. And this is the kind of advisor or team of advisors that you need to help you.
And having it all under one roof, one-stop shop, brings a whole new realm, because I think you could say, well, I work with a whole team of people, and this person is with this firm, and we come together to help you out. But I would suspect that you would say that having that all in your firm and all in one area is a nice one-stop shop for your clients that you provide them.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, when we start to deal with a prospective client, usually it's on the financial side. And they learn about the fact that we also do tax and accounting and bookkeeping and all that kind of stuff. They ultimately end up choosing to do that, and they're not required to, but it just makes sense to have all of that together because you're trying to coordinate a lot of very complex activities.
Well, if you think about too, like you go to the doctor or hospital, and if you have to grab your medical records and take them from this person to that person, but if all the doctors are able to go click and look at the same thing, now it really saves so much time. So if your team is looking at the books or the financials, now you're able to go, hey, the guy down the hall, the gal down the hall is now our specialist in. We're able to just really come together and be more efficient. And I mean, even from just the, it seems ticky-tacky to say time savings, but now the client doesn't need to make an appointment with their financial guy and drive across town and start up all of that relationship and then go over to the whatever. So I really like the efficiency feel and the one-stop shop. Do you ever find that someone, because again, me from the outside listening in going, what would people think of this? Is there ever a time that someone would say maybe there's a benefit to having separation? Is there a downside to that? Of course, the answer is no, but hypothetically.
I think that there is a downside. I'll give you a quick example. We had people asking us about how the coronavirus was going to infect their portfolio. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we started communicating with our clients really prior to the dip in the market that occurred around mid-March. But when that occurred, we had already been communicating with clients about the importance of sticking with strategy. We were talking with them about the fact that we might be rebalancing if the market dropped and why. And when the market did drop, then what we were doing was we were immediately shifting into this mindset of, hey, now's a good time to convert IRA assets to Roth assets. We can get into the details of that later if you want, but it was important to do three things. Look at Roth conversions, tax loss harvest, and rebalance portfolios. All of that impacts taxes. So then we were immediately able to take that information and update, because we were preparing client tax returns at the same time, update their quarterly estimates. The client didn't have to do anything.
Yep.
And so the downside is if you're working with an advisor that's not integrating, they may be making moves on the financial side that are impacting you on the tax side and not talking with your CPA. Or vice versa.
It's kind of like when you play
tax return, and not considering your investment stuff.
Do you play chess?
Yes.
So I play enough to know that I could probably get through a game and play. But think of this example. Isn't it true that when typically when you're playing chess, you make a move and you keep your finger on it, and then you look around, okay, yeah, that's a good move, and then you take your finger off. Now I made the move, because you're looking at the kind of the domino effect of what could happen when I make this move. And if you don't think about all angles, so just like what you just said is, if you just make a financial move or a tax move willy-nilly and don't consider everything else and don't have the full picture, you could come up with something that is really hard to unravel.
Absolutely. I said at the beginning, it's not what you make in the markets, it's what you keep after taxes. As soon as you take your finger off that tax piece, you're stuck. You can't make up. You can't take it back. It's very difficult to take it back. So you want to definitely plan things out. In fact, what we're doing, it's one thing if your advisor's helping you save taxes today, but really to save a good amount of tax, you have to plan ahead. So when we do planning, we're talking about 20 to 40-year tax and cash flow plans. That's where you can start to identify, am I using a tax-efficient strategy, a tax-effective strategy, and can I use what's called tax rate arbitrage to save tax over my lifetime?
Well, you lost me with that, but I'm going to say this. That's a good thing, because I get what I know arbitrage. You buy for $1, you sell for $2, and you make the difference. So that's wonderful. But those are the kinds of things that when you work with someone that knows all aspects of tax and finance and small business and entrepreneurs, that's where you would sit down and roll up your sleeves and say, look at how this could work in your business for your exact situation. So I'm certain that you offer, hey, call in and let's see if there might be a fit for what we do. Also, where can people pick up a copy of the book? But let's just wrap up with what's the best way that people can reach out, connect with you, pick up a copy of your book, and learn more about your firm.
Sure. They can pick up the book on Amazon or Google Books. They can reach me through my author page, www.waynebtitus3.com, or my firm website is amdgservices.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, Wayne B. Titus III.
Well, Wayne, thank you so much for coming on today with this really good, timely advice. I really appreciated you coming on, and really great to learn about your firm and how you're helping your clients.
Thanks, Mike. It was my pleasure.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.